On today's episode of Watch JR Go, the Camaro's gone, and this took its place. What is going on, guys? I am Watch JR Go, and today, like I said, the old Camaro is gone, and this has taken its place, which is also old at this point. It's an 01. That's right, an 01 is now 20 years old. But today, I want you guys to decide, did I trade up or did I trade down? Going from that Camaro with clear peel and a very, very old, what is that, a Gen 2 V8? An antique engine, honestly, up to this thing that's technically powered by an LS. And I think it's much improved over those early GM 350s. So we're gonna take a tour of this thing, check it out, and then tell me in the comments below, what do you think? Did I trade up or did I trade down? So 2001 Chevy Silverado 1500 LS. Although it's not a WT, it's not a work truck, this has no options. Somehow it did get power windows, but no options at all inside. I mean, it is boring. Look at that. There is power mirrors and 2 power windows and power locks. That's it. Oh, that's power seats. Okay, well that's what separates it from being a work truck right there. It is a Stepside, which is awesome. Stepsides are so cool and you rarely see them. So now we're gonna go on a tour of the exterior and see just how bad it is. It's got a big dent there that's down, you know, beyond the primer. The paint is definitely ruined there. Some kind of weird black mark there. It looks like obviously the clear has failed on the wheels as normal. I mean, that's just expected from all these GM vehicles. That light wasn't actually out, but it was like halfway falling out and there was broken glass in it and stuff like that. So I went ahead and took it out so I could fix the light. It's definitely had some kind of front end collision here because, at least I think, because those aftermarket lights are totally in there wrong. Like they're just all at weird angles. They should face obviously out a little bit and there shouldn't be big gaps, but something's really wrong in there as well. It probably a slight front end collision like a deer. And then of course the metal is all bent in here at the chrome part of the bumper. I can get in there. I think it might be worth disconnecting the battery and hitting that with a sledgehammer. It might come out. All right, clear peel. Major clear failure on the hood. You can see it starting as the milky stuff, and here you can see it just completely coming off, and here you can see rust. That's not a big deal. Obviously, it's a rock chip that just wasn't protected. The windshield looks like it's been hit by a dairy farm. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Not something you see very often, but it looks like milk running down the windshield inside and out. Mirror caps. Chrome's coming off of those. The antenna has had so many years on it, the paint's come off of the front, but is on the back. So that's kind of interesting there. Oh yeah, speaking of the windshield, it must have 20 serious rock chips, 20 bullseyes in it. Unfixable. Absolutely crazy that a windshield went that long with, just from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, delaminating on the inside, and then another gigantic one right here. I mean, there's so many big rock chips in the windshield. Kind of mind-blowing. Looks like the wheel well liner's coming off over here. That's kind of interesting as well. Like all the fasteners came out or something. The plastic looks okay, so maybe putting the push pins back in will fix the wheel well liner. Somebody's tried to do a little scribbling on here. These are very deep, very deep. And the front of the door doesn't line up with the fender at all. I think the fender has been pushed in. Like something was in between the wheel and the fender at some point. Just enough. And this, I bet this has a clean Carfax, honestly. I haven't pulled it, but I doubt there are any accidents on this thing's history. 220,000 miles, I think, though. Some crazy paint damage here. I mean, this is absolutely horrendous. All the way down to the metal. I mean, you know, it's an old work truck. It's a 20-year-old work truck. Major damage here, like somebody strapped over the fender into the fender well. I'm assuming that's what happened. The exhaust, I don't think it's connected to anything. It sounds like it's not connected to anything. It's not connected to anything. All right. Well, that's always cool. What do we have out back? The bumper is bent down. Hey, she works. Got a bed liner too. It's a cool looking bed. And of course, it's exactly 4 feet if I remember right. So you can fit full sheets of plywood and not have to fight for it. Kind of a cool Stepside feature there. Oh, that doesn't work. The fiberglass is broken out of this bedside. The tailgate's shut, but I had to slam it so hard I literally got a headache. I could feel it go through my bones and up to my head. I slammed that thing so hard. It finally locked in. That tailgate's definitely messed up. And honestly, it's all kind of binding. Like, it's just been taken apart so many times. It has brand new tires that look like, this may be the most Chinese tire I've ever seen. Lion Sport Leos. And they've got little lines on them. I definitely think these are brand new, made in Thailand, and also possibly the cheapest mud tire I've ever seen in my life. So that's interesting. And then of course we have our typical cab corner rot and rocker failure here. This isn't usually typical in Kansas trucks unless they've had like a really rough life, and clearly this has. So there you go, that's a quick tour of the exterior. Up here on the roof, I should probably mention, let's see, there's no handle to grab onto. This was like parked under a tree or something like that, and obviously all the black stuff is oxidation, and under the oxidation it has destroyed the clear, and you can see the base coat underneath the clear. So the roof looks pitiful, and there's an old Sirius XM antenna up here that is fully rotted out. So that's kind of interesting too. So that was a quick exterior inspection. By no means was it in depth. If somebody sends me to look at a car for them, I do an in-depth one. And on this, it would have taken like 30 minutes to go around the exterior. It's rough. So it's also expected, I would say, for the price and the miles. So it's not way out of line. This is way out of line though. The door handles completely broke off the door panel. Way out of line, come on. This is gonna blow your mind. I checked this a minute ago. The door handles work for the back doors. They typically don't work. I mean, it's honestly super common for these to be broken for both sides on every single GM vehicle from this era. The tweeter has fallen out of the door panel. The mount broke or something like that. I was like, man, I can see a hole. Yeah, the tweeter literally fell out. So that's kind of wild there. Door got slammed too hard too many times. It came with a light bar. So there's a little cheap light bar hanging out there in the back. And of course, hey, they give me some O'Reilly's coolant. Can't beat that. He did say it's not using coolant, but there was some extra coolant in there. Ugh. Steering wheel's super gross, sticky, gross. I would say that's the best way to sum that up. Center console lid's broken, pretty common on these as well. Let's see if the latch works. Wow, how is it this messed up? Center console lid won't open. I just tried incredibly hard for quite a while. You can hear it's full of stuff, but it will not open. So down here we should have 3 cigarette lighters, and we do, and an ashtray, which we do with like random wires in it, and airbag off. There's no OnStar in this truck. Literally no options. The head unit was poorly installed. This is the wrong kit. The head unit should of course be flush with the dash on these things, and for some reason somebody used the kit that makes it stick out like an extra foot. Yeah, I know it's not a foot, but it's horrible, so you're allowed to exaggerate. I mean, look how bad that looks. The full manual climate control, no rear defrost. Wow, a switch is missing that I've never seen missing. Doesn't even have the rear defrost in the window. It does have, nope, not even the extending sun visors. Crazy. This is a work truck. Well, I'd say that's enough going over the interior. We know just how bad it is. It's dome override must be on. There we go. How come these didn't turn on? Maybe they don't. Weird. I think that might be a more luxury truck thing. Anyway, dome light does work. Start this thing up. 219094. We've got an ABS light. When it showed up, it had a check engine light. I cleared that when I was looking at the codes. Everything else seems like it works all right. It's definitely loud. Let's go look under the hood. Ah, good old LED headlights. And burnout bulbs over here. That's pretty nasty. Well, would you look at that? This thing is stock. It has a stock air box. I think that the air filter is fully clogged. I've never seen the air filter minder be that bad. So the air filter is clogged. There's definitely a bearing that's dying. Right in here. I'm not sure which bearing it is, but there's definitely a bearing making a little bit of noise. Cable throttle body, 4.8 liter. It sure is a reliable package. I think this thing will run forever. The cool thing about getting the 4.8 liter is it's gutless. I know people like it because it'll do 1,000 horsepower with a cheap turbo, but The other thing that I like about it is that when you put that in front of a 4L60, the 4L60 will never die. I bet this thing's on a stock transmission with 220,000 miles on it. This engine is like having a V6, but reliable. The 4.8, unbelievable reliability. Clearly needs valve cover gaskets. It's leaking oil everywhere. You can see there's oil coming back up onto the valve covers. It's so oily. Oil everywhere. There's literally oil everywhere. Well, I figured we saw everything else. There's one more thing that's actually important, and it's the one thing that's usually never broken on these. The AC. So I hopped in here and I figured let's try out the AC and see just how cold it is. First of all, the knob's broken off. The selector knob here. Lower motor resistor is bad. There's no max speed. Only works in 4, 3, 2, 5 doesn't work. How does 5 not work? And there's no AC. Darn. The one thing I thought would work perfectly. Well, I'd say that's a pretty thorough overview of everything that's going on with this, I would say, cheap truck. I mean, pretty cheap. It does have a Kenwood head unit, and it does look like it's all stock speakers. I'm not even sure why you would put the head unit in other than Bluetooth and aux. I guess this was pre-aux, like 07s when they all got aux. And unfortunately, the dash pad's cracked. That's the saddest thing, is the dash pad. So I was thinking this was an easy $5,000 truck. It may be a little less than that because everything's broken with the mileage that's on it. Well, I think I had one of the bulbs we needed. Let's find out. Let's see if this thing is, oh, there we go. 3157 amber. That one's not very amber anymore over there. My ultra cheap Chevy truck that should be very reliable. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below while I replace every single light bulb in this truck that's somehow burnt out. I don't even know how that happens, but like they're all full of corrosion and burn up. Oh, wait. The answer to why that happens is because aftermarket housings. The aftermarket housings don't fit very well, and then the sockets don't seal, and then they fill up with corrosion, and then even when you put in new bulbs, like I just did in some of them, they don't work. So it's going to be a lot of time fixing all of that. I guess if you change your headlight housings to really cheap ones, you better keep that car inside. Oh, it has a bad wheel speed sensor too. Left front wheel speed sensor. The scanner told me that. And it was also saying there were history codes for the knock sensors, which, I mean, the engine seems like it's running really well. So hopefully that's not actually a problem. Next up, we'll fix this thing and get it back on the road. Obviously, most of this stuff is cosmetic. I thought I saw an oil leak, but I guess I didn't. You know, easy cosmetic stuff. And of course the wheel hub's a little bit of work, but it's two-wheel drive. This thing's two-wheel drive, so it's not that much work. I'm excited about that. And he did say the brakes are new. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjargo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. I still think this will be easier to sell than that Camaro. And, you know, honestly, it might be worth more. Trucks are just worth more than cars. That's just how it is, especially in Kansas.